Welcome to today's interview with Jessie G. Jessie G is a stay-at-home mom who works 15 hours a week and has built out her POD business on Etsy to over $1 million in revenue. So I'm super excited to have you on today. I know you're going to be able to pour in a lot of knowledge and what you do to make this happen with, again, only working 15 hours a week, which is mind-blowing. So I'm really excited to get into today's content. And thank you so much for being on. So Jessie, before we get too far into things, could you maybe give me some backstory on who you are and all of that? That'd be awesome.
Yeah, definitely. So I graduated from college in 2015 with an art degree, and I wasn't able to use that art degree, so I started just working traditional jobs. And in 2020, COVID was happening, and I was pregnant with my first child. And so with all of the uncertainty with COVID, me and my husband decided that I was going to quit my job. And I started looking at Etsy to see what I could make. So I started out with little magnets, hand-painted signs, things that couldn't scale. And then I found this video from the life hacker couple talking about print on demand. And it just opened my eyes to the potential because I could make one listing and it could make me thousands of dollars. And my mind was blown and I was sold. I couldn't sleep that night. So 2020, 2021, I was following the life hacker couple. And I saw one of their videos interviewing Cassie Johnson. And so in 2022, she started her own channel and I got into her mentorship group. And so my numbers started multiplying. And I learned everything from Cassie. And then I found out about you and I joined ICP and I started following your method in 2023. So to take you through the numbers, 2020, when I was doing it myself, I made $5K, and then up to today where I'm going to be making $700K, hopefully, in revenue.
That's amazing. So that's $700K by the end of this year. Is that what you're saying? So 2024 numbers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So collectively, you're sitting at $1 million in total sales. So you ran 5K your first year. You kind of you geared up with the life hacker couple, and then that introduced you to Cassie. And what were you able to generate once you started getting moving there? What was your numbers at that point in time?
Yeah, so 2020, doing it on my own was 5K. 2021, following the life hacker couple, was 49K. 2022, with Cassie and all of her tips, 122K. And then 2023, last year, with ICP and your method, 425K. And right now, I'm at about 270 so far, but Q4 hasn't happened yet. So with Q4, we should get to 700K this year.
That's amazing. That is freaking awesome. Congrats on all that. So with all this being said, obviously you've been on this journey for a bit now. When was the moment in time for you that you felt like something clicked and you're like, okay, I can actually really make this work. I can turn this into something that's going to generate me a good amount of income. I can be actually successful. When was that moment for you?
So when I first watched the video from the life hacker couple, I knew the potential just because I'd never heard of anything that wasn't hourly like this. So I made, within ICP, one of my tumblers sold 3,000 times and I made it one time. So that is so much money from working maybe 30 minutes,
Yeah.
It's crazy, which with listings, maybe 20% of mine sell and 80% of them don't sell. But those 20%, they crank. And that's what makes me the money. But also when I was in Cassie's mentorship group, Spencer, one of your students, he came and spoke with us. And I looked at his numbers and it was crazy, like how much money he was making. So I thought, okay, I need to learn about this Jessie guy and his method.
That's awesome. Yeah, Spencer has generated some insane results. I think he's my third client ever that I worked with. And he actually had a week of time during summer of, I think it was 2 years ago now. This was soon after we started working together, where he was the number one seller on Etsy for an entire week. It was so cool to see that. And that was all with apparel. So POD apparel items, he was absolutely crushing it. So all of this being said, let's transition a little bit through. So I want to ask you a question. So what do you think is the number one reason that you see other or average POD sellers, we could say, why is it that they fail a lot? Because I think that the percentages in the industry are very skewed towards people fail. And so people are looking for answers. They want to succeed. They know they can succeed because they see people who crush it out there like you and others. But what do you think is the number one reason why your average POD seller fails?
I think most of them don't have a proven method because there's so much information out there on POD. But if you're consuming all of this information and there's not this strategic roadmap, then you're probably going to lose your staying power if you're not seeing results. So also not focusing. Once they do start following your method, if they do, not focusing can get them off. Because if I start making things that I think are cute, but they're not based on the research, then they're probably not going to sell. So I really have to focus and not get shiny object syndrome. I think also people think that it's a get rich quick scheme or that it's passive income, and it's neither of those.
Yep.
I have to work every day for this, and it's taken 4 years of building to get to this point.
Yep.
Which your method will fast track that growth, but it may not be a year in until they can replace their salary. So it takes a while to build. And then I think the last thing would be just not having a why. Like I've got a huge why with my family and wanting to retire my husband and stay home with our kids and homeschool them. So if you have that why, then you know why you're trying to, go through all of these slow months to get to the Q4.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's so good. I definitely think it's super important to approach it like it's going to be a business for the long term. And so I totally agree with you. People are coming into the POD space often and they're thinking to themselves, oh my gosh, I see this like rapid success from someone else and I'm so excited, I'm so eager. And they end up unconsciously cutting a whole lot of corners. They don't spend the time in the research. They don't actually develop it as if it's an actual business because that's what it is. It's not going to be quick. And I tell people this over and over and over again. I want to work with people. I want to serve people. I want you to, be a part of my program and I want to grow with you inside of Inner Circle Prince. But I'm very transparent always of what that looks like for someone because it's not going to be, 90 days from now, you're making thousands and thousands of dollars. That will not happen. It's happened, but those are one-off scenarios. So what you really want to understand coming into it is that you're playing a long-term game. And like where you're at now, 4 years in, you're going to run $700,000 this year. You're probably going to net in the six figures. And that's freaking awesome. So all that being said, focus on it in the long-term game type of play as a POD seller, not in the short term, and you'll get to your goal much, much faster. So treat this as a real business because that's what it is. So I love that. So with this being said, you're going to run about $700,000 this year by the end of Q4. What do you think sellers should be doing today as it's, August? What should they be doing to prepare themselves for the most abundant Q4 possible? Because we all know that Q4 can be a crazy season where sales go through the roof and so much of your revenue for the year can be made during that time frame. So what would you suggest that a seller does today to have the most success during that time?
Well, I can only speak for myself because stay-at-home moms, we have limited time. So I have to focus on what I want to do. I can't be working on 3 product categories at the same time. So what I'm going to do is I've already built out 80 of my frosted cups that ICP carries. I didn't finish out my master list yet, but I know that ornaments are so important for Q4. So I'm going to just shelve the frosted cups until 2025, and I'm going to start working on ornaments. Last year, I hired someone to do my designs, and I was trying to cut corners, like you said, and the designs just, they didn't have my heart in them, because that's what my skill set is the design. So I'm going to take my time, and I'm going to give myself until November 1st to get 125 to 150 listed based on my master list. And I know that they're going to do super well, but I can't focus. I've got 2 shops. I can't focus on all of these new shirt designs. Like I have to pick what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to do.
Love that. No, you're so spot on. I'm really glad you focused in on the word. You can't do 2, but you went on to focus. So focus being one product type, and that is ornaments for you. So whenever you look at the POD landscape, what you'll see is there is a tremendous amount of opportunity out there through dozens of different product types, and you have even more than one platform. So with all that being said, you can get really skewed towards thinking, okay, I need to be in a lot of different things at once. And that is the slowest way to gaining success. So when you have focus and you double down in the area that matters most, and in this case, prioritizing ornaments makes a whole lot of sense for Q4, you tend to get results much, much quicker. So it's really awesome to see someone like you who, you're running really awesome numbers and you're like, hey, focus on one product type. That's super important. Because I know that's something that I hold super true to myself and my success. Or I'm like, I can't be focused on more than one place. If I'm focused on more than one product type at a time, I tend to get very little results. So if you guys can take one big thing out of that, whether you choose it to be ornaments or t-shirts or coffee mugs or whatever other product type out there, just choose one and double down on it, because you're going to get results much quicker, because you can become a master of one product type a lot faster. Even if it carries over a lot of different niches, you can understand what works from a design standpoint, a photo standpoint, a buyer mentality standpoint. You can really understand that way easier and grasp that and then deploy it when your focus is on one rather than multiple at the same time. So I really am glad you pointed that out. Okay, moving on to the next one here. So you're the third coach coming into ICP. So for those of you who don't know, Jessie is coming on to ICP as our third coach. So Connor and Lauren are currently our other two coaches outside of myself. And Jessie's joining on because she's driven some amazing numbers in the space, and she has a very good skill set that adds a lot of value to ICP and will allow her to pour into sellers very well. So with that being said, Jessie, what is the main goal that you have for the clients that you're going to work with? And who do you feel the most called to serve specifically? Because I feel like there's a certain audience of people that are kind of on your heart.
Yes. I have a heart for the stay-at-home mom who maybe doesn't want to send her kids to daycare. She wants to stay at home with them. Oh gosh, sorry. But those women, I want to be able to teach them how they can make money at home, so that they have that option. If they don't want to go back to work, they can stay at home with their kids. And for me, I also want my husband, he wants to be an entrepreneur too, but he has a traditional job where he works 60 hours a week. So we're trying to get to the point where he can also quit his job and pursue his YouTube channel and his other businesses that he wants to do, so that we're both doing things that we're passionate about. I think that's really important, because I think that each of us is gifted with a talent, with a passion. And it's like we get into our 20s, 30s, 40s, and we're in a job that we hate, and we're spending 40 plus hours a week, excuse me, away from our families, doing this work that just sucks our soul out. And I hate that. I hate it so much. And so I want to come alongside these women and show them that it is possible. This Jessie's method it's a proven structured way. So before, I was just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what would stick, and I wasn't making the money that I needed to make in order to make my husband retire from his job. And people were saying, like, get 50 listings up a day, and that it's just not possible when you have 2 kids or even 1 kid. It's not possible. And so I needed a method that was like, do this. It's a roadmap. Do this, and you will find success. And that's exactly what we get inside of ICP and the education. And so I could talk about this all day. I love POD, but I've tried to talk to my friends and get them to start a shop. And I found that it really takes a certain personality to want to do that. And so I'm pumped, because these are people that they want to do this. They have invested in growing their business, and they want to talk to me about it. So I get to come alongside them and then show them the method. And then my strength is in design. So I do want to come alongside them with that. Yeah. And also show them, hey, you could tweak this in order to make designs that sell.
That's awesome. Well, yeah, I can definitely hear your heart on all this. So super excited for you to pour in and to serve the clients you're going to get to work with. So real quick, if you guys are watching this right now and you're like, hey, I would love the opportunity to be able to work with Jessie, there will be a link in the description below where you can go apply to Inner Circle Prints. You can learn more about exactly what we do with our strategic product types, our POD education that we provide. And again, you can get an opportunity to work directly with Jessie if you do qualify. So again, if that is you, feel free to go to that link right now in the description below and go apply to ICP. So awesome. Jessie, thank you so much. Is there one other area at all that you feel like, you want to talk on, or do you feel like you covered the areas that matter most for POD sellers to succeed? Is there one last thing you want to leave the viewers with before we let you go for today?
Yes. Yeah, I have a couple of things. So if I were to go back and do it all over again, even if you don't buy into Jessie's course or whatever, make sure that you're doing customized things, because now I sell about 90% of my stuff is customized. So you need to figure out a method to where your products are customized, whether you use Hello Custom, you hire a VA in the future, which can sound daunting, but it's not. I could walk you through that I have a couple VAs, so I figured that out. But yeah, lean into customization. I also tell people that working from home, you need to make sure that your mentality is not that your kids are a distraction from your work, because if you have that mentality, then you're going to be short with them. You're going to be easily angered, but you need to view it as your work is a distraction from your kids, and you need to have guardrails up. You need to say, okay, I'm working during nap times, nighttime, whatever works for you. And then during the other times, your energy shouldn't be drawn to your computer. It should be focused on them, because if you don't have those guardrails up, then you're going to feel drawn to it, because the business model is it's expansive. There's no end to the money. So you have to make sure that you have those boundaries in place. And then the last thing is I just want to shout out my friend Milka, because she's the one that she talked me into buying Jessie's course at the end of 2022. And so I bought it and we went through it together. And then she also talked me into signing up for ICP. So a lot of the success, it was her encouragement. So I just want to thank her for that.
Yeah. Thank you, Milka. Yeah, I'm appreciative of her too, because you've been able to generate such good results, and look at where we are today. You're coming out as a coach and you get to pour into other people's lives. So awesome. Well, thank you so much, Jessie, for sharing all of your wisdom. And I cannot wait for you to serve clients inside of ICP. You're going to be such an asset to everyone. So thank you so much. And we will talk soon.
Thank you.